Hey everyone, this is MusicTechHelpGuy, and today I want to show you another plugin that I got in the AVOX 4 vocal toolkit from Antares. This is the Choir plugin, which comes as a standalone plugin as well if you don't want to purchase the entire AVOX 4 bundle. The Choir plugin is a vocal multiplier plugin, which can take one track and simulate 4, 8, 16, or 32 voices off of a single track. So I find this really useful in lieu of using a traditional chorus or ensemble plugin to thicken vocals, especially during the chorus or the hook of a song. So in this song, we've got a female lead vocal with 2 male backing vocals in the chorus. Let's give this a listen as is.
But if I knew what I know now, I'd break away from you, who sets the record and says to others.
So right now this is pretty obvious that this is just 3 singers singing. I want to make this sound like a whole choir of vocalists and sort of thicken the texture of the chorus starting here at measure 25. So let me just solo out the 2 male vocalists. Let's listen to them by themselves.
I break away from you, who sets the record.
Cool, so they sound pretty good. Let's go ahead and add the choir plugin. And I'm going to add it in stereo. I'm going to convert mono to stereo. So we're going to take our mono channel and convert it to stereo. All right, so let's listen to just the top male vocal, which is panned slightly left, just with the stock setting of the choir plugin.
I break away from you, who sets the record.
So the more voices you choose, the thicker the texture is going to be. So what I'll do is I'll switch between 4, 8, 16, and 32 just so you can hear the difference between all 4 of them.
I break away from you, who sets the record and says to others.
So here's 8.
I break away from you, who sets the record.
16.
I break away from you, who sets the record and says to others.
And finally, 32 voices.
I break away from you, who sets the record.
And the more voices you choose, the more chorusy it seems to get. Now, the cool thing about the choir plugin, kind of like with the duo plugin that I showed in an earlier video, is it's extremely simple to use. The vibrato knob just basically, as you pull this up, makes more out of the vibrato that's in the recording. So you don't want to do this too much, but it does help to pull this up a little bit to pull the voices vibrato a little bit away from the original's vibrato.
I break away from you, who sets the record and says to others.
Yeah, at higher settings, it starts to sound more like a really heavy pitch LFO effect, so we don't want too much of that. The pitch is the pitch variation between all of the voices, so the further you pull this up, the more out of tune the 32 voices are going to be from each other. So let's pull this all the way down, and then I'll pull it all the way up so you can hear the difference.
I break away from you, who sets the record and says to others.
And again, if you go with a really extreme setting, it starts to sound a little out of tune. So I'm going to favor something that's more toward the middle. And then the timing adjusts the timing delay of each of the 32 voices. So as you pull this up, it's going to sound more and more like a slap delay. The voices are going to sound more like a slap delay from the original.
I break away from you, who sets the record and says to others.
So again, I'm going to favor something more toward the middle. And then lastly, you can just decrease or increase the amount of stereo spread.
I break away from you, who sets the record.
And this just spreads all of the voices out across the stereo field. So I'm not going to go with 32. I'm going to go with 16. I think 32 is a bit much for this.
I break away from you.
Maybe let's try 8 instead.
I break away from you, who sets the record.
Okay, so it's a little more subdued. And I'm going to copy over the choir plugin over to my second backing vocal. I'm going to go ahead and repan the first backing vocal because I undid that just for demonstration purposes. Let's see what both of these sound like with the choir plugin on.
I break away from you. Who sets the record and says to others.
Cool, let's try this with the lead vocal in.
I break away from you. Who sets the record and says to others, do I belong? I'm moving on so long.
And then just so you can hear the original.
I break away from you. Who sets the record?
So here the backing vocals are very direct. Here they're a little bit more ambient and sort of washed out. So let's pull up the backing vocals a bit so they stand out front a little bit better. And let's hear this in context with the song.
But if I knew what I know now, I'd break away from you. Who sets the record and says to others, do I belong? I'm moving on so long.
Now let's say that you like the way that sounds, but you still want to hear the dry signal of the original vocal tracks along with the choir signal. Well, the way and this is the way I prefer to do it. The way I prefer to do it is to put the choir plugin on an aux track and bust the channels over to the aux track, just like we would with reverb, delay, or any other time-based effects. So in Logic, I'm just going to go up to the Options tab up here, go to Create New Auxiliary Channel Strip. You can also press Control-N. And I'm just going to go over here. I'm just going to call this choir. I'll make sure that the aux track is in stereo, and I'll make the input one of our available buses. We're already using bus 1 for reverb, so I'm going to use bus 2 here. And then all 3 of our vocal tracks, I'm going to create a send on bus 2 and pull the amount up. So now we'll actually hear the lead vocalist in the choir effect as well. And then I'll just remove the choir plugin from the backing vocal. I already removed it from the second backing vocal. And we'll put it on our choir aux track. And then what we'll do is let's go with 8 voices again, and let's see how this works. By the way, one of the things you'll notice is it takes just a moment to load the stereo spread options. I don't know why it does that, but it just takes a little bit of time to load it. So just wait a couple seconds, and it'll work just fine. All right, so let's give this a listen, and I'll sort of blend in the choir track as it plays, but I can probably pull these down a little bit. There we go. What I'll do is I'll pull the send amount up a bit more on the backing vocals. So let's see what this sounds like.
But if I knew what I know now, I'd break away from you. Who sets the record and says to others, do I belong? I'm moving on so
Yeah, so now we're hearing the dry signal of all these, and you're getting a sort of a clearer tone out of the dry vocals, but we're also sort of blending it much like a chorus plugin with the choir track. So just so you can hear the choir track just by itself.
I break away from you. Who sets the record and says to others, do I belong? I'm moving on so long.
And then again without it.
I break away from you. Who sets the record?
So with the choir plugin in, we've got a thicker texture and a more ambient texture for our vocals in the hook here.
I break away from you. Who sets the record and says to others, do I belong? I'm moving on so long.
And there you go. That's the choir plugin from Antares. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Hey guys, if you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel to see multiple new videos added every week. Also, you can check out carneymediagroup.com, where you can view all of my video tutorials, search for specific topics, download the videos ad-free, and in some cases you can purchase session content so you can work along with me in the video. Also, please consider giving a monthly contribution at patreon.com/MusicTechHelpGuy. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.